Hi, I'm Lisa Zwirn, and I'm a food writer here in Massachusetts. I'm also the author of Christmas Cookies, 50 Recipes to Treasure for the Holiday Season. And perhaps one of the most treasured recipes of the book, based on what people seem to love to eat at some of the book signings I've done and the classes I've held, are chocolate crinkle cookies. Chocolate crinkle cookies are tender, fudgy. They are rolled into balls, excuse me, and they are coated with confectioner's sugar, so that when they bake, they kind of melt down and you get this fudgy and white crackly coating look to them. So that's what we're going to make. Now, they come in various names. They've been called chocolate crinkles, chocolate crackles, earthquake cookies, and snow-capped covered mountain cookies. But we're going to call them chocolate crinkles because it's much easier. What we're going to do first is we're going to melt a stick of butter and a couple ounces, 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate. And we're going to do it directly over the stove, over very low heat. Normally, you would melt chocolate over a double boiler, which is where you'd melt it over some barely simmering water. We don't need to do that with this because we have the full stick of butter, which does help prevent the chocolate from burning. So we're going to do that. We are going to stir it frequently, but again, it's not quite as sensitive a mixture if it's just the chocolate. Okay, so this is melting, and we are looking to have all the chocolate be fully melted. You don't want to ever see any bubbles. You don't want to have the chocolate get burnt or boiling. And we're looking just to have it be fully melted and a smooth mixture. Okay, we've now got our melted chocolate and butter mixture, and now we can start with the batter. And we're going to start with 3 eggs, 3 large eggs. And we're going to beat these until they're frothy. Okay, then we're going to add a cup of sugar and 3/4 of a cup of dark brown sugar. I like using dark brown sugar because it adds a richer flavor. There's a little bit of molasses in dark brown sugar, so it makes a very rich flavor, and it adds well to the chocolate. And we're going to beat this. The one thing you have to be careful with brown sugar is there can be lumps in the brown sugar. So you want to make sure that you don't have any hard lumps of brown sugar. Okay. Now we're going to add our melted chocolate and butter mixture. It's cooled off a little bit. You don't want to add burning hot chocolate into an egg mixture. So we're just going to get all this yummy chocolate. And we're also going to add, this is a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to beat this in until the chocolate is fully absorbed. And we have our nice chocolate batter. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients. This is flour, baking powder, and salt. You can add it all at one time. But the one thing to be careful of is whenever you add flour to a wet mixture, you want to always keep your beaters on low. You don't want to overbeat once you're adding the flour because that can stimulate the gluten in the flour and you can end up with drier, tougher cookies. So again, it's all about fully blending in the ingredients. You don't need to beat a lot of air into this mixture. These are supposed to be really thick and rich and fudgy. So we are basically where we need to be. It's pretty simple. It's a very simple batter. Notice how I'm calling this a batter and not a cookie dough because this is very much like a batter. In fact, the hard part about these cookies is they need to be chilled. The dough needs to be chilled for at least 4 hours, preferably overnight. Because we need to roll these cookies into balls, and there's no way with the batter as loose as this that we can do that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cover this with plastic wrap, stick it in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. Okay, our dough has chilled, and I've taken it out of the bowl, and this is really what it looks like. It's kind of a thick, fun texture. What we're going to do is we're going to make, what I like to do is make a few balls. Don't spend too much time making them really precise because the heat of your hands will warm them too much and they'll end up going into the oven a little too warm, which will make them flatten out a little too soon. So you kind of just want this kind of size. They're about 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch diameter. I'm going to make about 5 or 6 of them, and I drop them into the bowl of confectioner's sugar. I give them a good shake. Look how nicely they've been coated. And then just pluck them out. And I think it's best to keep these about 2 inches apart on the cookie sheets. So this is what the sheet's going to look like. They're totally covered. These are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 11 minutes. But again, the key is they should look a little wet looking when they come out and be very tender. And here they are, chocolate crinkles. They've come out of the oven, they've been cooled on a cooling rack, and they've been plated. This is what they look like. They taste really fudgy and delicious. They're a great alternative to brownies, and you don't have to wait for holiday season. You can make these all year round. Enjoy.